So it's 1988, and I'm hungover and crouched over a desk, half-heartedly watching my university lecturer give a talk about societal impacts and future trends. At one stage, he uses the term cyberspace, a concept which at the time is new to me, but it gets my attention to the point where I'll later look up the term when I'm less hungover and have my tiny 17-year-old mind blown by what I find. Jump to 1994 and I'm sitting in an off-white computer lab where a friend, a mechanical engineering student, is telling me all about the wonders of the World Wide Web. After she leaves, I dive full force into the guts of programs like Telnet, Fetch, and Mosaic, and thus begins my becoming hooked on the joys and terrors of the internet and the World Wide Web. Jump again to the year 2022, and I'm sitting in my studio listening to the founder of an artificial intelligence organization who's currently onboarding us, a group of beta testers who have been invited to test their AI image synthesis generator. This isn't my introduction to AI art generators, which happened a few years prior, but it is still a pivotal moment where the true societal and cultural impacts of such technology start to manifest in my limited consciousness. In all three instances just described, each encounter can be viewed as a milestone in introductions to and interactions with technology that would and will go on to shape our contemporary world for better and for worse. Cyberspace, the internet, XR and VR, and artificial intelligence have had and will continue to have explosive societal impacts. In terms of the cultural gravitas with which they should be viewed, just as the internet has become inextricably embedded into the very fabric of humanity's relationship with technology, artificial intelligence in general, and the use in relation to the production of AI-generated artwork using text prompts specifically, holds the potential to critically impact industries, institutions, individuals, and societies at large. The stage. Since April 2021, when OpenAI's text-to-image generator DALL-E intro splashed across the AI scene, AI art generators have burst onto the next big thing stage in spectacular fashion. If you're a regular user of social media, it's highly likely that you've recently and regularly been exposed to a stream of AI imagery shared by eager creators using text-to-image generators like DALL-E 2, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, Craiyon, NightCafe Studio, and Imagen, who are keen to explore and in some cases unfortunately exploit such methods of producing visual output. Creators, developers, critics, academics, and commodifiers all seem keen to jump on the AI art bandwagon and hitch their fortunes to the next technological wave. The lowdown. Text-to-image art generators are for the most part based on neural networks trained on large data sets, some of which are scraped from the internet itself, that produce output through a process called diffusion, a practice where images are produced effectively from randomness. This is a shorthand but hopefully succinct explanation as we're on the clock here. Using text structures called prompts that contain a combination of descriptors, styles, punctuation, modifiers, and concepts, the resulting visual outputs can mix the strangest combinations of elements to produce unique results, some of which are what you're seeing right here and now. Such image synthesis occurs out of what's termed a latent space, or a type of abstract multidimensional limbo which contains visual potentialities, dependent on the data sets used in the AI training, which are almost summoned up from this space when called up by a specific combination of words and punctuation. In the rush to embrace text-to-image generation, the phrase prompt engineers, used more broadly in machine learning, is now being used to describe people using such text-to-image generators who craft such prompts. Prompt engineers deploy text in particular ways to direct their desired image output, with manipulation and experimentation playing a key role. This need to play with text and semantic structuring has fostered a fast-moving subcultural base, one that is both gestating and evolving rapidly, with digital spaces like GitHub, Hugging Face, Replicate, and Google Colab being harnessed as playgrounds in which to test such experiments. Alongside the role that text takes in such exploration, that being one of an imagination engine, with each AI art generator upgrade or modification, like in-painting, out-painting, and upscaling, the AI art field becomes broader and more adventurous. Text-to-image adopters are also using text in novel ways alongside their generated AI art, with a surge of poetic and fiction-based stories proliferating. AI artists like Vladimir Alexiev and Dr. Siobhan O'Flynn have been delving into using such AI output as the backbone of larger story-based projects. One such storytelling project I've been constructing since July this year is a book series based around text-to-image output. The first book in this series, Portraits, AI Characters and Their Microstories, is a collaborative effort between myself, a human, or at least I was the last time I checked, and the AI DALL-E 2. The book is comprised of a fusion of AI-generated portraits and microstories written in my signature English code hybrid language called Mesangle, and was inspired by being invited by the OpenAI team to participate in their AI Artist Access program. So thanks, OpenAI. The impacts. Artists and non-artists of all stripes have begun to wade into debates concerning the legitimacy of text-to-image generated art, with a fair whack of the resulting dialogues predictably veering towards the hyperbolic. There's also, however, valid concern from certain societal sectors regarding the potential seismic cultural shifts that might well be associated with such AI tech. And although the term disruptive has been ridiculously co-opted to represent anything even vaguely associated with non-standard use, I can't really think of a more apt arena for true disruptive impact than AI text to image, and very soon text to video, text to animation, and even text to video game generation. Just some of the creative industries and individuals likely to be heavily impacted by the growing use of AI art generators include graphic design, concept artists, photography, illustrators including storyboarders, cartoonists, plastic art practitioners, film and video, curators, animators, game developers, and even interactive storytellers. And this isn't even including how AI will impact and is right now affecting businesses like stock photo outlets, advertisers, and even publishers. In fact, there's already been several controversies surrounding the use of text-to-image generators, such as the furore over the Midjourney crafted AI work that recently won a Colorado State Fair Digital Artwork Prize, and the more disturbing report of real medical photos being included in data sets used to train AI image synthesis models. There's also the fact that as of September 2022, Getty Images have now banned any AI artworks from being uploaded or sold via their platforms. Personally, it's been quite the trip being involved in both the DALL-E 2 and Stable Diffusion beta testing programs. Alongside the absolute wonder and delight in using such tech, seeing inbuilt implicit bias concerns arise has been less than ideal, as has problematic content leaning towards misogyny, hate speech, and racial stereotyping, as well as training sets and even worse, beta testers themselves perpetuating the myth of the great male artist, with some women identifying representations being relegated to muse status and even worse, male gaze fodder. But this is just the tip of the AI art generation iceberg. Other issues being raised over text to image art include legal ramifications regarding copyright, the ease of propaganda creation, and problems surrounding the data sets on which AI generators have been trained that include living artists' work without any permissions given. The rules. The development of crucial ethical guidelines and best use principles when using text-prompted AI art generators, including rules for prompt engineers, can't come soon enough. Some ethical questions that might be considered when using such text-to-image generators include: 1. When writing text prompts, do you absolutely need to include references to particular artists, living or deceased? 2. If you must include artists in prompts, should you make sure to use a mix of many artists and styles, and preferably only include the names of deceased artists? 3. Think long and hard about whether it's acceptable to use text-to-prompt generators for the creation or dissemination of hateful or harmful content. 4. Consider if your text prompts replicate or emulate any overarching biases or lopsided power structures, and if they do, whether it's okay to A, use them in the creation of AI art, and B, to promote or publicize such images. 5. Consider the implications of the long-term use of AI art generators on our climate emergency due to image synthesis being extremely computationally demanding. Conclusions. Jumping back to that hungover morning in 1988, if I'd known then what I do now about the wide-ranging impact of cyberspace and the internet in general, I'd probably have giggled and then sobbed, especially given the epistemic crisis humanity seems to be currently facing, due in part to the development and use of such technologies. Just as I would never have been able to predict back in the early 1990s just how impactful the internet would become, it's almost impossible to ascertain just how text-to-image AI generators will manifest in the future. But if we've learnt anything from the past, including the weaponization of text and media in relation to political propaganda and grandstanding, we'll be wise to hard-baked lessons learnt from such technologies into all aspects of AI generation, including the textual nuances and moral considerations relevant in the construction of such imagery.